Body piercing was once the adornment of choice for goths and punks, but now it's completely mainstream. Today, 1 in 10 of us sports a stud somewhere other than our earlobes. The trouble is, the more popular piercing becomes, the more problems there are. A survey by the Health Protection Office in June revealed that a third of 15 to 24-year-olds who'd been pierced in the pursuit of looking cool experienced medical problems, with 1 in 100 ending up in hospital. I'm in Folkestone to meet 21-year-old Nicola Hodges. 2 years ago, while still an A-level student, inspired by her favourite indie bands, she wanted to experiment with her image.
I had pink hair, blue hair, black hair, blonde hair, dreadlocks, and had my nose pierced and ears pierced.
Everything was fine until she decided to get her tongue pierced.
A couple of my friends had it done, so I thought I want to go along with it. It looks pretty good, so I'll give it a go.
Nicola went to a piercing studio where she was given a local anaesthetic. Her tongue was stretched out and a large hollow needle was pushed through, creating a hole for the ring.
My tongue was pulled out of my mouth using like a steel clamp. I remember the feeling of my tongue throbbing in my mouth for hours after it happened.
She was then given aftercare instructions on how to avoid infection. Just 2 hours later, her tongue started to swell up.
Did they say to you, it will swell up, but then it will go down?
Yeah, that's what everyone says. And a couple of days later, it still hadn't sort of gone down swelling-wise. It was sort of almost as, it was like filling my entire mouth, basically.
Way.
Yeah, it sort of got to sort of 6 or 7 days, and it still hadn't gone down in any size at all, and it was getting really painful, even though I'd still done everything they said. I'd done the mouthwash, I kept it really clean.
Oh, shit.
I started feeling like I had like the worst flu I've ever had, like really shivery, and sort of my throat killed. Not sort of blackouts, but when my temperature was going really high, I started sort of just sleeping for hours and hours at a time. So I was in bed constantly for a good few days. But then when my temperature couldn't go down, I still thought, oh, I'm just ill, it's nothing to do with my tongue piercing.
After a week, Nicola was taken into hospital. She was already in the grip of a serious infection and was put on a drip to get antibiotics into her system fast. Her body had effectively rejected the piercing.
My family were very scared. They thought that they're very close to losing me altogether. I remember my sister saying that she thought I was actually going to die. I've actually still got it. That's what caused me all that trouble.
Oh my gosh.
When I left hospital, they hadn't forced me to take it out at all, but I just remember the feeling of sort of knowing what it had done and knowing the damage that it's caused. I just wanted to tear it out of my tongue. I hated it that much. I thought it made me so ill. I just wanted it out straight. As soon as I got home, I took it out.
The risk of complications does vary a bit depending on the site of the body that has the piercing. And in general, warm, moist areas or areas that are difficult to keep clean are the areas where there's most risk of complication. So we saw the highest rate of complications for people who had tongue piercings. About half of anybody who had tongue piercings had a complication. Anybody considering having a piercing, the most important thing they do is to make sure they get it done by a reputable, experienced specialist in piercing.